Here we go. We should be back in the building. Y'all know what to do. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. We are back at it, getting ready to have a great show. And hopefully y'all are doing well on this Monday morning, Monday afternoon for some of you, for most of you, Monday morning for the rest of the world. Good to see y'all in here. Welcome to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the ClassE Afternoon Show today. I'm your host, ClassE, at patreon.com/ClassEbeats. By the way, the link is in the description as well as in the pinned comment in the chat. Today, we've got a lot to get to. We're going to talk about Alicia James. Yeah, y'all thought we were done with her. No. Alicia James still has some more legal battles that she's facing. We're going to talk about Candace Owens. We're going to get into by far one of the pettiest motions that I've ever seen in my life. We've been covering a lot of legal stuff on this channel, and y'all are going to be shocked and amazed if you haven't heard of this already, what's going on here. And then we've got a couple other things we'll get to. But before I get to that, I have to say what's up to the people, man. Shout out to the gang in here on this Monday afternoon/morning. Good to see everybody in the building. We've got my awesome, amazing Amy, of course, always in here holding it down and being amazing. Shout out to David Hunter. David, Amy actually put me onto some of your content, and I see you do some live streams playing the piano and worship music over there. That is amazing, man. Shout out to David Hunter. Hopefully you're still in here. Definitely going to be checking out some of your content. Y'all go show David some love. Les Cleaver's in here. Slim Life New Jersey. Of course, we got A-Fits in here. J Bugmaster. Freedom of Speech. We got Taco Tuesdays in here a day early. Valencia's in the building. Shout out to the members gang in here. We've got Gloria is in here as well. The Honorable Attorney Kel Bell is in the building. Always good to see you in here. And thank you to everyone who's in the building. All right, we're going to get right into it because we got a lot of topics to cover. But before we do, I do have one favor to ask you all, and that is that you like the video. Likes are free. Helps the channel continue to grow and lets the algorithm know that y'all are enjoying the show. Shares the video, the channel, this live stream out with more people. There are already 700 of you that have liked the video so far, so thank y'all for doing that so much because it helps us out a ton. There are so many of you as well that have already shared the video. So if you're feeling extra generous, you can share the video as well. It's free to do. You just click the button that says share. It's got an arrow that's curved and pointing to the right. You can share this video and the live stream out to Instagram, Facebook. You can share it to X. You can even share it to your group chat and let people know where you're going to be hanging out for this afternoon. All right. Because we're going to be talking about a lot of great stuff today. And I will be giving a shout out and a major thank you to everyone who goes the extra mile and sends in super chats. All right. So I'll be looking out for that. We're going to go ahead and get into it. We've got Virginia Wiley is in here too. Good to see you. Shout out to the members gang, man. If y'all haven't checked out the memberships and the members only content, make sure you go over there and do that. We've got a lot of good members only content. You get your name highlighted in green in the chat, and you get an opportunity to get access to all the videos we post here on the channel instantly. You don't have to wait with everybody else. We're going to go ahead and get right into our first topic. So again, if you haven't yet, please make sure you like the video on your way in. It helps out so much. I don't think y'all realize, unless you're a content creator, how much that engagement helps us out. So thank you to everyone that's done that. All right, it's time for another Alicia James topic. I know we did not see this happening, but Alicia James is under fire again. And this is going back to something I've addressed on this channel, which is her lawsuit that she actually won against President Trump. We're going to get into that. And we're going to look at her possibly being accused of an election fraud. What? How ironic would that be? But let's go ahead and check out what is going on here with the DOJ essentially giving another subpoena to Alicia James. Here we go.
Breaking news, the Associated Press is reporting the Department of Justice has subpoenaed New York Attorney General Alicia James. The AP reports it's related to the civil fraud case against President Trump and a case against the National Rifle Association. Now, James sued President Trump in 2022, accusing him of misrepresenting his assets by billions of dollars. She won, but the case has been appealed. James just released this statement saying any weaponization of the justice system should disturb every American. We stand strongly behind our successful litigation against the Trump Organization and the National Rifle Association, and we will continue to stand up for New Yorkers' rights. We also reached out to the DOJ, and they declined a request for comment.
Okay, so that's what's going on with Alicia James. If you want to know what happened with that entire case, We're going to check out this article here, and it gives us a little bit of background, what went on with that legal situation. And then we'll fast forward and talk about what's going on now. So New York appeals court overturns the fraud penalties against President Trump. A New York appeals court has overturned nearly $500 million in civil fraud penalties against the former president, now president. The ruling removed the financial judgment while leaving the fraud finding in place. The case was originally brought by Attorney General Letitia James in 2022. Judge Arthur E. ruled in February of 2024 of last year that Trump and his company had fraudulently inflated property values to obtain loans and insurance benefits. He ordered Trump and his co-defendants to pay more than $454 million. I can't even imagine what a 100th of that looks like, let alone the full amount, including interest and imposed restrictions on the Trump organization. So nearly $500 million. The appellate panel voided the financial penalty, citing that it was excessive under the Constitution. 2 judges upheld the fraud finding, but rejected the penalty. 2 other judges said a new trial may be necessary. One judge argued that the case should have been dismissed entirely. So was this frivolous? Maybe not, but Letitia James ended up winning. So she got a win there. While the financial penalty was thrown out, the restrictions remain in effect. These include limits on the Trump's organization's ability to borrow money in New York, which is key to how Donald Trump built his empire. Prohibitions on Trump's sons serving as company officers and oversight by a company appointed monitor. Attorney General Letitia James had the option to appeal the New York's highest court. The Trump organization continues to operate under the court supervision while the case proceeds. Now, we'll go back to what's happening today. Check out this article from the Daily Caller. They say Tish James is fighting another DOJ probe for selective enforcement against Trump's business, which is interesting because this thing that she's being looked into for is what she accused the president of doing right now. Now, a lot of us know, and we've talked about it on this channel, Letitia James basically ran her whole campaign on going after President Donald Trump. She got into office and she did exactly that. Now, the Department of Justice is saying, whoa, hold on, Letitia. You may be guilty of some of the things you've been accusing the president of. So they say the DOJ probe for selective enforcement against Trump's businesses, the NRA, and unsealed documents show. This was just released this afternoon. New York attorney Letitia James is fighting a federal criminal probe over alleged selective enforcement in cases she brought against the president Donald Trump's businesses and the National Rifle Association, or the NRA. Court documents unsealed Friday revealed. James's efforts to block subpoenas issued by the Department of Justice touches on matters of national concern with implications that stretch well beyond this action. Judge Lorna Schofield, an Obama appointee, wrote in the order making the filings public Friday. Letitia James said she did not want these subpoenas to move forward. She wanted this information to stay where it was. And nope, the judge ruled, no, we're not doing that. Judge Schofield said, you need to tell us what's going on. Unsealing this action is not only permissible, but compelled, Judge Schofield wrote. One simple fact drives the conclusion the information at issue is not secret. In August of 2025, it was widely reported that acting U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of New York, J.A.S., because I'm going to mess up his name, issued subpoenas related to James' civil fraud case against Trump and his company, along with her case against the National Rifle Association. James was indicted in October last month in a separate mortgage fraud probe in Virginia, where she still faces 2 charges of alleged bank fraud and false statements to a financial institution. You know what this seems like? This seems like there were 2 players on the same team doing the same things. Trump was doing his thing to move his business forward. Letitia James was doing her thing. Now they were both in a situation. They got into some beef. Letitia James said, I'm going after Trump because I know what he's been doing. You know why I know? Because I've been doing it too. So she gets in her position. Then the president, he becomes the president again, 45, 47. He says, oh, Letitia, I remember what you said. You looked into what I was doing. This is what everybody does. We all do it. Is it right? No, probably not. But you know what's going on. You know what the deal is. Let me find out that you've been participating in this type of activity. And here we are. So it seems like Letitia overplayed her hand a little bit, and now she's suffering the consequences. James' opposition to the Department of Justice subpoenas centered on alleged retaliation by the executive branch, issues of state sovereignty, and the purported improper appointment of the Northern District's acting U.S. attorney, the judge wrote. In an October 15th motion, James' attorney stated Trump failed to press claim of selective prosecution, retaliation, and bad faith during trial. Now that he has returned to the Oval Office and has placed his personal lawyers at the highest levels in the Department of Justice, Trump is using the grand jury subpoena power to target the office of the New York State Attorney General. Hey, don't hate the player. Attorneys for the office wrote in the unsealed filing, in the way the executive branch seeks to transform a personal grievance which has failed as civil claims into a federal criminal prosecution, a plain and calculated campaign to harass a law enforcement agency that held Mr. Trump, President Trump, and his organization to account. After suing Trump in 2022 for allegedly overvaluing his assets to secure more favorable loans, James secured a $454 million civil fraud judgment against him in February of last year. A New York appeals court tossed a $500 million penalty against him in August, calling it excessive while upholding the finding he committed fraud. Department of Justice citation of an opinion by a dissenting judge in the case who highlighted James' political moves is not enough to justify a subpoena, James' attorney argued. So we're going to have to see how this plays out, because it seems like there's a lot of legal paperwork flying back and forth between the two, because the Department of Justice argued heavily relies on the dissenting judge's opinion highlighting James' biased public statement against Trump and political motives in bringing the case according to James' motion. One dissenting judge viewed that there wasn't enough to support a subpoena, and the attorneys argue. Moreover, they claim the U.S. attorney's improper appointment invalidates the subpoenas. The executive branch has repeatedly endeavored to give handpicked lawyers the vast powers of U.S. attorneys without the inconvenience of Senate confirmation, her attorney wrote. But Congress did not craft such a carefully constructed vacancy scheme only to allow Attorney General to choose whomever she wants, whenever she wants, and serve as an acting or de facto U.S. attorney. James is seeking to dismiss her mortgage fraud charges in Virginia by challenging the appointment of interim U.S. attorney Lindsay Halligan. That's not going to happen. Former FBI Director James Comey, who also faces charges brought by Halligan for allegedly lying to Congress and obstructing a congressional investigation, is likewise challenging her appointment. Trump selected Halligan to fill the role just days before she indicted Comey. We've got one more video we're going to show you guys, and this is another incident that we may be hearing more about moving forward. Shout out to Lindell TV for posting this interview talking about some alleged election fraud by Letitia James. Yes, you heard that right. Check this out.
Hey everybody, Cara Castronova with Lindell TV here with Marley Hornick, and we are talking about her big lawsuit that she's announcing against the Board of Elections in New York State and Letitia James for election fraud. Could you tell me more about it?
We're suing them for a conspiracy against civil rights. These pious civil rights advocates have suppressed the speech of New Yorkers. They do not want elections audited. They do not want to answer to the people regarding representation in Congress or anywhere else in New York or the federal government. And they have tried to attack and defame and crush citizens who had hard evidence of illegal election misconduct in Letitia James's own election. So we are suing them for damages, and we are suing to get a comprehensive, external, bonded, certified audit of the entire election process in New York from registration through certification. Because if we don't have legitimate representative government, we don't have a country. So we have to fight this all the way down to the mat with these people. They don't want us to have that.
Thank you so much. Where could people follow the lawsuit?
at on X at Real America Vote and at Marley Hornick. And also realamerica.vote is our website.
Thank you so much, Marley.
Thanks, Kara.
Hey, everybody.
Wow, this is wild. So the lawsuit is calling for, as they say, damages for civil rights violations, a full independent bonded audit of New York's entire election system from registration to certification. Oh my goodness. This is insane. Are we calling this lawfare at this point? Because this is insane that these legal processes and folks in this high of a position are going back and forth at each other to be so petty. I want to know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. This Letitia James thing is far from over, and y'all know we're going to be here to talk about it. Shout out to the gang in the building, man. We got over 9,000 of you up in here. Shout out to everyone who's in the building. Thank y'all for supporting and liking the video. Holly's up in here. We got Kitty Cats in the building. I said what's up to Jay Buckmaster. Rice Street is alive. Oh my gosh. Dang, Rice Street. It's been like 6 months since you've been up in here. Shout out to Rice Street for being in the building. We're going to go ahead and get into our next topic because we got a lot to get to. And I know y'all are going to love this one about Michael Proctor, because we've been talking about everything that's been going on with this Michael Proctor situation, and finding out he has some emails, text messages, and a lot of stuff that has been discovered from the past 13 years. So I'm going to put Karen Reed up here, and we're going to get into Michael Proctor, because we all know this started with Karen Reed and some of the nasty things that Michael Proctor had to say about Karen Reed. But now Michael Proctor is back in the spotlight himself. I don't know if he just thought by him saying, hey guys, I give up, I don't want my job back, never mind, it was going to solve everything. We know that 13 years worth of his text messages were found on an iCloud. This guy is going to be screwed in so many ways. It's not even funny. But we talked about, and the biggest thing we talked about is how Michael Proctor's text messages and how he conducted himself in the Karen Reed investigation and other investigations was going to affect people who were serving jail time, who had been locked up, who had been indicted, and Michael Proctor was heavily involved in. So we're going to get into a case and specifically talk about the Miles King case, if you haven't heard about that, and find out how Michael Proctor may literally be ruining this case. Let's get into it. Shout out to Amy for posting this on X. She says, and make sure you go follow her if you haven't yet, at IAMYLEIGH over on X. That's at Amy Lee on X. She says defense attorneys from across Norfolk County has less than 24 hours to get access to the documents related to how disgraced former Massachusetts State Trooper Michael Proctor investigated the Karen Reed case that were scheduled to be destroyed today. So let's see what the judge has to say about this and do a little bit of rewind. And I want to remind you guys of how we got here. Check this out from Boston.
25 Investigates is learning more about what's on ex-State Trooper Michael Proctor's cell phone. Investigative reporter Ted Daniel is joining us now live. Ted, you obtained an interesting court filing late this afternoon.
Yeah, Rachel, we told you earlier this week that Proctor dropped his appeal to get his job back with state police after thousands of new items were found on his personal cell phone, including text chats, audio files, pictures, and video. We're getting a little more information about that now. Some details are contained in a new court filing from the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. The filing says Proctor's phone contains sensitive images of intimate body parts of people not on the text chain. Screenshots of Facebook posts, phone numbers, and emails of all the people Proctor communicated with, and the name of a sexual assault victim. The Norfolk DA's office is asking a judge to restrict the public release of those items and a lot of other sensitive data from Proctor's phone. The DA's office continues to review an extraction of that phone. A judge has ordered prosecutors to share any data that is considered favorable to defendants in several cases Proctor investigated. The filing does not say if the intimate body part images are connected to a case Proctor work or images shared among friends. The DA's office says it will allow a judge to privately determine what items are relevant to other criminal cases before sharing them with defense attorneys. For 25 Investigates, I'm Ted Daniel.
Shout out to Ted. So that's how it started. Let's talk about how it's going, because it gets even crazier. We just found out from News 7 there in Boston that the judge ordered the feds to preserve Proctor investigation material to be used in future cases. Whew. This is so bad. This is so bad, because if this is the judge's order, that means a lot of what they're finding from the data, or a lot of what the judge observed from this investigation into Proctor, is pertinent to not only future cases, we're going to talk about Miles King, but maybe even past cases as well. So what do they have to say about this? And I'm actually going to play the video and let y'all hear it from Boston News 7. Oh, maybe not. They don't want to do it. They don't want to play it. Come on, Boston News 7. If not, I can just read it for you. I think I can read okay. We'll let the commercial play. So what did they say? Defense attorneys across from Norfolk County had less than 24 hours to get access to the documents related to how disgraced former Massachusetts State Trooper Michael Proctor's investigation into Karen Reed case that were scheduled to be destroyed tomorrow. Several attorneys met at Norfolk Superior Court Thursday after they said they believe Proctor's phone, notes, and audio tapes could help them better defend their clients. That is exactly what we're talking about. And this is going to lead us into talking about Miles King. Because if Proctor says if he has another instance of saying, put it on the girl, this guy's going to end up in jail, man. It's looking like Proctor is not only is his career over, but 13 years of text messages. Now it's saying that, hey, we want to see those text messages because it might apply to our client. This is Michael Proctor's worst nightmare. It will be helpful to our case because it will show us the manner and mannerisms which some of the investigations into the Karen Reed case were done. And that's helpful to us because we can compare and contrast that to the way he investigated in our cases, says Rosemary S., a defense attorney representing a murder suspect who was investigated by Michael Proctor. Proctor was the lead investigator in the Karen Reed murder case. However, his credibility came into question when unprofessional texts on his phone were discovered. He has since lost his job and abandoned a Civil Service Commission appeal to try and get it back. I think it's going to be very difficult to have a sit down with my clients and go through these chats, go through these texts, go through these emails because they're very vulgar and they're very disturbing. Are we surprised? No. Right. So this attorney, what is her first name? Rosemary, we're going to call her. The Honorable Attorney Rosemary S. said she is confident in the material she received will help her client, a black man, dismiss. Why'd they throw that in there? Dismiss his case, alluding that Proctor had a bias. Okay, so Michael Proctor might have been racist and he might get exposed. That's what I'm hearing. Without a doubt, is exactly what we thought it was. She told 7 News outside the court on Thursday. If you've already prejudiced to the people because of the color of their skin, their ethnicity, if they're male or female, then you can't have an open mind when you started this investigation. The defense attorney for Brian Walsh, y'all know about Brian Walsh, the man accused of murdering and dismembering his wife in January of 2023, also pleaded with the judge to not destroy the documents. He said he wanted more information on Proctor's investigative techniques. A judge eventually ordered the federal government to preserve that material. Again, Michael Proctor's worst nightmare. He is completely destroying the Massachusetts justice system single-handedly. Let's check this out from News 7.
Disgraced former state trooper Michael Proctor is at the center of some legal battles. Local defense lawyers want materials about Proctor that are set to be destroyed. They say the information could impact some of their cases. 7's Kimberly Bookman has more.
Crazy.
With a deadline looming, a judge made a late-day decision preventing the destruction of documents.
Defense attorneys across Norfolk County had less than 24 hours to get their hands on documents related to how former Massachusetts State Trooper Michael Proctor investigated the Karen Reed case.
It would be helpful to our case because it shows us the manner and the means in which some of the investigation in the Karen Reed case was done. And that's helpful to us because we can compare and contrast that to the way the investigations were done in our case.
Friday was the day federal officials plan to destroy materials related to Proctor. Defense attorneys like Rosemary Scapicchio represent people who were investigated by the disgraced former trooper. They've already viewed what was on Proctor's phone.
We know that a lot of the material you're seeing is top secret, but is it anything that you think is going to help your client and perhaps even dismiss your case?
Without a doubt. It's exactly what we thought it was.
Without going into detail, Scapicchio, who represents murder suspect Miles King, a black man, alludes to Proctor having a bias.
If you already have prejudged these people because of either the color of their skin, their ethnicity, whether they're male or female, then you can't have had an open mind when you started this investigation.
But defense attorneys worried there was more helpful information about to be destroyed. Brian Walsh is the Cohasset man accused of killing his wife around New Year's Day in 2023. His attorney pled with a judge to preserve all the documents, not destroy them, believing it could help his case.
This
With the
is
clock
so
ticking,
bad.
the judge agreed, allowing defense attorneys more time to comb through everything that could help their clients.
And more Proctor documents are expected to be released to defense attorneys on Friday. In Dedham, Kimberly Bookman, 7 News.
All right, shout out to Kimberly. So we're going to talk about Miles King, and we're going to get into a breakdown of that court proceeding here shortly. But I want to give you guys some insight into what happened with Miles King, because you may not even heard of him. And this is what's at stake when it comes to Michael Proctor's just misuse of the justice system, Michael Proctor's lack of professionalism, and what could be at stake here. Check this out from Michael Morrissey. Yeah, I know. And this was a press release where he's talking about Miles King. So here's what happened. A man indicted for murder, a woman for accessory in July shooting. Check this out. A Norfolk County grand jury had indicted and has indicted Miles King, 21, of Milton, for the July 10th, 2021 murder of Marquise Simmons. A woman reported to be in a relationship with King hasn't been indicted as an accessory after the fact of the murder, according to the Norfolk District Attorney Michael Morrissey. King was arrested the day after the murder following an investigation by Milton Police and Massachusetts state detectives assigned to the Norfolk District Attorney's Michael Morrissey's office. He entered a plea of not guilty at his Quincy District Court arraignment following his arrest and was ordered to be held without bail. It says the indictment issued Friday moves the matter to Norfolk Superior Court, where it will be prosecuted by Assistant District Attorney Adam Lowley. Y'all, there's some familiar names here. District Attorney Morrissey said, Mr. King was indicted for first-degree murder, carrying a firearm without a license, carrying a loaded firearm without a license, and possession of a large capacity firearm. Mrs. Brianna Gardner has been indicted for accessory after the fact of murder. The Superior Court has not yet set an arraignment date. Gardner will be summoned to her arraignment. Marquise Simmons has traveled by moped to the Belvoir Road area of Milton just around 6 p.m. on July 10th and dismounted that vehicle. He was shot a few yards from where he parked. He was rushed to Boston Medical Center, but did not survive. King is represented by defense attorney Rosemary S., as we've heard from her before. All defendants are presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So here is what's at stake here. What's at stake is a case like this, where a man allegedly shot and killed another dude in cold blood. Is he innocent? Is he guilty? As y'all know here, we believe innocent until proven guilty. But if there is something in this case that Michael Proctor was involved in, he could be ruining essentially this entire case and tainting this entire case. And that may favor well for Miles King. What do y'all think is going to happen moving forward? This is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Michael Proctor and the ramifications of his just overall negligence. I want to know what y'all think is going to happen moving forward in the comments in the chat. Y'all want to get into this court proceeding? What has Michael Proctor done? Shout out to Dottie in here. Amazing Grace is in the building. I love you. I appreciate you. So good to see you in here. Shout out to Amazing Grace. Michael Proctor separated from his wife. Yeesh. And thank you to all 15,000 of you in the building. Can we get some more likes, please, guys? Likes are free. I don't ask for much on the show. It's really the only thing I ask for. Your cell phone will tell on you. That's a fact. The public wants to know the details, and we will. Yes, he said, oh, Lord. Shout out to Under Oath. My Big Rice Street's up in this thing, too. Shout out to Big Rice Street. What else did y'all say? Oh, shout out to the attorneys in here, too. I'm glad the Miles King case is getting more attention. I had some concerns about it, to be honest. We're going to get into it. We're actually going to hear from Rosemary in a second and find out what she's trying to get when it comes to Michael Proctor and when it comes to Miles King. Shout out to my awesome, amazing Amy in here, gifting 5 memberships. If you got a membership from Amy, just be polite and say thank you. She shows so much love, so much support, and is always in here doing it all. All right. So make sure y'all say thank you to Amy. You check out the members only content. You get access to all the videos we drop here on the channel instantly. You don't have to wait on anyone, and you get your name highlighted in that beautiful green. So thank you, Amy, for the support. Thank you for always showing up and showing out. I love you and I appreciate you. Also, y'all make sure that you go and support Amy's channel. She does have a YouTube channel. She premiered a video earlier today. It was absolutely wild. Has some great content. It's enjoyable to watch. You could binge watch her entire channel. And I actually think you should. I've done it before, and I've gotten behind on my work a little bit sometimes. I'm not even gonna lie. But anyway, go over there, like all the videos, leave a comment, and let Amy know what you think. And of course, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that she drops a new video or host a premiere. Shout out to Amy for always doing it big. Proctor withheld the speed I was going. Proctor withheld the speed I was going when I got a ticket. Released the documents. Dang. You know they about to. Everybody's gonna be lining up to see what Michael Proctor had to say. If he mentioned Miles King and used a racial slur or something, or say, "Oh yeah, that." It's gonna be bad. Also, Amy with the cake super sticker always reminded me, not only does she have the cakiest cake out there, but to make sure that I get something to eat, and it's almost lunchtime. So shout out to Amy, always looking out, always taking care of me. I appreciate you, Amy. Thank you. And thank you for the super sticker as well. All right, let's keep it going. This is going to be interesting. And I can't believe I missed this, honestly, because as we've been talking about and reviewing what's been going on with Michael Proctor, a lot of different names have come up. Brian Walsh, Miles King, and we're going to talk about Miles King here. Michael Proctor has been involved in so many investigations with his time with the state police department. But now that all of these emails and all these text messages came out, we're talking about 13 years worth of text messages, emails, audio clips, pictures. Some of the people who have clients, and we're going to talk about Rosemary S. in a second, her client, Miles King, they want to see what Proctor had to say about their investigation. Did he say how he was handling the investigation? Was he talking to somebody else? Was there any prosecutorial misconduct, I think is the term that's used. So we're actually going to hear from her when she went before the judge and said, Your Honor, we need some of this information, and we think Michael Proctor may have had some issues in our investigation as well. Check this out.
Who represents the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. I had a conversation with the Assistant U.S. Attorney LaMacchia. My biggest concern is whether or not it's been communicated to the U.S. Attorney's Office and or the federal judge that you and Judge Fournier and everybody else are looking for this February 2024 order. When I had that conversation with Assistant United States Attorney LaMacchia, he didn't indicate that there was a conversation one way or the other. What he said to me is he needed to speak to Mr. Sullivan, and then he would get back to me. When I called again, I didn't get something affirmative in terms of is that being discussed amongst the things that need to get resolved, because this court has made it clear that you're not inclined to make a decision on my request for discovery until we get that order. And I just want to make sure we're not waiting until next week and then all of a sudden someone says now we need the order. So to the extent
I would like to see the February order.
And I conveyed that to them.
But I also have to deal with the issue of whether, regardless of what the order says, whether there's still a constitutional obligation on the DA's office to review the information that they are in possession of to determine whether it contains exculpatory information that should be produced in other cases. I appreciate the fact that somebody says you can't look at this or you can only look at it for a limited purpose, but I'm not sure that that trumps the constitutional obligation that the DA's office has to review stuff. I'm trying to avoid having to decide that if we can get the authorization from the federal court so that we don't have conflicting orders. But we're not there quite yet. We need to run it to ground a little bit more, and hopefully we can get some movement this afternoon. I think I told everybody last time, out through the 11th. So I'm back the 12th. I'll see you the 12th. I'll see you the 13th. Whatever is convenient for everybody to get back together. I think...
Judge, I appreciate that 100%. My concern is, if we know that we're running up against that clock that runs out on the 18th of August, is there a way that the government can now, or the Commonwealth can now ask the government to extend that order again? I don't want to be in a situation where you finally make a decision.
I think the Commonwealth understands that. So...
Yes.
And I invited you the last time to seek to intervene or to do whatever you needed to do to communicate your concerns to the feds.
I understand that, and that's what I did, Judge. I had a conversation with the U.S. Attorney's Office, had a conversation with their attorney, and the plan was, if we did not hear back in a way that was reasonable to us, both myself and Attorney Sullivan planned to file a motion on Wednesday to intervene.
Okay, great.
That was what we were planning on doing. So that's before we knew that they weren't going to have a meeting until 4 o'clock on Tuesday, Judge.
Yeah. All right. So do you want to set a date? Do you want to say the 12th?
I think the 12th at 2 o'clock, just from my reading of the emails that was going around yesterday, seemed to be the best.
I think that's what Ms. Irwin said.
Sure. Yes.
Okay. So we'll put, let me just see, we will put...
Except for Mr. Wester, I do want to say, who will still be on vacation.
Right. We will put King, De Los Santos, Johnson, and Chanchillo, and I think also Walsh.
Yes, please.
On for 2 o'clock on the 12th.
And these are all cases that are going to be affected by Michael Proctor's misconduct. Well, I guess I should say alleged misconduct, because we don't know what's in those text messages. But according to the interview that Miles King's attorney did, they saw some things in there that showed Michael Proctor might have been saying and doing some things he shouldn't have been doing. Would we be surprised? No.
On the issue relating to the federal Proctor discovery.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And is there any way to get an update from the 4 o'clock meeting today, Judge, so that we're not waiting until the 11th or the 12th, the morning of the 12th, to find out what happened?
I'm sure that the Commonwealth will alert folks to whether progress has been made. Everybody needs to be on the same page ultimately for the hearing on the 12th, and you're going to have to act quickly. The Commonwealth may have to act very quickly, depending on what happens.
And I've been doing that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Now, with respect to the King matter, we're just dealing with the issue of the late disclosure. And
may I be heard, Your Honor?
Sure.
At the close of the last hearing, you asked the defendant to provide the court with which documents were either exculpatory or would inhibit the defendant's right to a fair trial, would be prejudicial to him. I have not heard of one document since these have been provided in April and May.
Wow, that statement did not age well, because as we know, we've got Michael Proctor's text messages.
To that end, I'd ask the court to order that right now. I think that this has gone on. This is now the second day of a hearing, and the Commonwealth is unaware of which document or which documents are prejudicial to the defendant and will prevent him from having a fair trial.
We had two things I was looking for. I was looking for that, and I was also looking for some sort of a agreement of the parties, if it was worked out, to identify which of the documents were newly disclosed, which were partially disclosed previously and fully disclosed more recently, and then there was the prejudice analysis as to the new documents.
Correct.
So there was sort of a two-phased process. I don't know whether either one of those phases happened, whether the parties met and tried to work out an agreed list as to what was new or what was not new.
I endeavored to work with ADA Hickman to ensure Your Honor had a complete list as diligently and as best as we could of what documents were previously produced, and that was provided to Your Honor. I believe was sitting on your desk as Monday morning. It was a third exhibit that the Commonwealth provided. We did confer on Friday afternoon. It was represented to me that counsel would be providing us a disagreed list or a number of other lists to show the court what they disagreed with.
I got a pile of documents.
And we got that as well.
This is the pile that I got, I think, from Mr. Piccio's office. I don't know if included in there is the chart that you folks worked out that you say was on my desk. I'm not sure I know what you're referring to in terms of a list that was new or not new, but maybe it is in the stack.
How do y'all think the Commonwealth feels about this entire situation with Michael Proctor? Can you imagine them getting prepared with their defense and knowing in the back of their mind that somebody's going to bring up Michael Proctor and what he did?
Well, it's the third. If you look in the manila folder that's underneath that, there, in a rubber band, it's in your hand. Right now.
Oh, in here. Okay. This one.
That, yes. The third doc.
Okay.
That is what I prepared with the assistance of ADA Hickman.
Okay.
Which specifically describes what, if anything, is minorly different. That was provided to council on Thursday last week. We met we got a teleconference on Friday, and council was working on their own lists.
Okay.
So to answer your question, no, there was no agreements as of now. We endeavored to meet earlier and understand from my pleading what council disagreed with, but that was not reached. We've provided you, the Commonwealth has provided you as best we can what has been previously provided.
Okay.
If there's any subtle differences, we can supplement that at a later date, but at this point, I know ADA Hickman has worked very hard to go through the material.
Attorney Scapiccio?
Thank you, Your Honor. So we've provided 3 charts, both to the Commonwealth and to the court. The first chart deals with the information contained in the Commonwealth's opposition in disputed documents from pages 7 and 8 of your motion to dismiss. The second chart deals with all of the new discovery, which I thought we were in agreement that the second chart is everything that was new, it hasn't been disputed by the Commonwealth. And the third chart is the information.
So you have 2 dueling charts, huh? So you have the Commonwealth's chart and your chart.
Yes.
This is exactly what I didn't want to have happen.
I understand, Judge.
So why didn't you get together and work, figure out a...
I tried you.
Well, I think we both tried. I'm playing catch up here, Judge. They've had this information since 2021. I'm trying to go through it, organize it, and figure out where it fits in the most timely fashion that I can. And that's what I've spent my time doing. So when we spoke on Friday...
Do I have a list of the items which are new or which you claim to be new and that I can then cross-reference against the Commonwealth's list, which you say are prejudicial or are exculpatory and you're behind the 8 ball because of the late disclosure, notwithstanding the continuance?
This is nothing new.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, where will I find that?
So where we find what, Judge?
Your list of the explanation of why particular things are prejudicial to you.
That hasn't been completed yet, Judge.
Okay.
I just got to the point where I was able to send a list to them literally Monday morning saying, based on everything that you provided since April, here's what I think is new, and we all agree it's new. That's chart number 2. Here are my disputes from what you say you already gave us from the first part of your motion, and here's what we say is new from the second part of your motion. That's what I was able to accomplish in the week that we had between now and the last hearing.
All right. So you need more time to get the other stuff done.
I do.
Okay. How much time do you need?
It depends. I just got more discovery this morning, Judge, so it just keeps happening.
Come on, Your Honor. Like, how much time do you need to review the discovery? You don't know how much discovery there is. It's like, hey, guys, I want you to build me a house. I'm not going to tell you the size of the house. I'm not going to tell you where it's going to be located, what you're going to have to do. I'm not even going to show you a picture of the yard and the area where the house is going to be built. Can you tell me how long it's going to take you to build that house? Like, dang, Your Honor, we don't know what all is there. And now we got these 13 plus years of text messages from Michael Proctor we have to review. Come on, man.
So in order for me to get my hands around it, they have to be able to certify that I have everything, Judge. Because I can't keep doing this piecemeal the way that they've asked me to do it over the last month and a half. So do we have everything? Because if we do, I'm happy to sit down and say this is where we are and this is where we stand. But if we don't have everything and we're going to come back in a week and they're going to hand me something else in the morning of the hearing and say this is
as an initial crack, I wanted a list of what was new and what was prejudicial in the 2 notices as of when the motion to dismiss was filed.
Yes,
that's what I think we were shooting for. We understood that some new stuff had been produced after that.
Yes.
And I don't know what the explanation is for that, but in any event, we're looking at what was filed as of the time the motion to, what was new as of the time the motion to dismiss was filed.
So, Judge, what I did with the new information is I put it in chart 2 as a description of it. I cross-referenced it to a bait stamp number if we had it, and I put it in a discovery category, which is I thought what the court asked me to do. So some of it has to do with jail calls, some of it has to do with social media, some of it has to do with search warrants. I've categorized it in a way that I think that I was hoping it would help the court understand.
Can we make a record here?
Yes.
You were referring to lots of stuff which is not in the record.
Correct.
Right? We admitted in the last hearing exactly one document.
Yes.
Right? If you are referring to particular charts, let's be clear about what they are. Let's mark them as an exhibit. And then we'll discuss what we need to do. You can explain what those documents are to me without a witness. I think that's sufficient. And then we'll decide whether we're going to proceed with the hearing on an evidentiary basis today or not.
Thanks.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I'm going to leave the link to the rest of this video for y'all in the comments and in the description so you can go watch it. Michael Proctor messed up. He messed up bad. And a lot of this took place before we knew personally about all the text messages, but this whole situation with Michael Proctor was going on. I wonder if he's still going to testify in this Miles King court proceeding, if it ever even gets to that point. Let me know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat. Oh man, what was Michael Proctor thinking? Shout out to the gang. We got 15,000 of you in the building. Can y'all like the video real quick, please? We got half of you. Nearly half of you have liked the video. I'm gonna keep begging for likes. It's free. It's actually not her job to give them all a list of items she believed may be prejudiced. Exactly. Yes, that falls under automatic discovery rule 14B2B, and it makes sense. Like the prosecution just can't keep introducing discovery as the trial goes on, but leading up to the trial. That's not how it works. So yeah, I agree. Saying that this discovery shouldn't be allowed in. That's kind of crazy. The judge is playing in her face. I love the soundboard. Hey, shout out to the soundboard gang. This is going to be interesting to see what's happened. And I haven't seen much of the evidence when it comes to Miles King. I know a lot of you are familiar with that case, but we're going to have to actually do some more digging and figure out what was going on with this Miles King case. And is there maybe something there that we need to look at sideways like we did with the Karen Reed situation? We're going to have to wait and see and find out. Actually, let me fix this real quick because we're going to get into this in a second. But before I do, oh, and I forgot to stop recording on that one. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Amy for gifting the memberships. Thank y'all for saying thank you to Amy for the gifted memberships. Make sure you go check out and subscribe to her channel too. Let me see if I did this the right way. Okay, yeah, we're good. So let's go ahead and get into our next topic. We've been talking about Candace Owens a lot on this channel, and specifically what she has been finding out when it comes to the Charlie Kirk assassination. Well, it seems like Candace Owens may have predicted what's going on here. Candace Owens had a lot of questions about Tyler Robinson, the alleged shooter's relationship with his roommate, who was, I guess you would say, transitioning, right? Now we're finding out information about Tyler Robinson's roommate, Lance Twiggs, and it looks like Lance has somehow mysteriously gone missing. We're going to hear from this report by the New York Post. We're going to hear from Candace Owens and a lot of other information seen leading up to this that may be pointing to something bigger going on here. So check this out from the New York Post. They say Charlie Kirk suspected, I won't say it how they say it, boyfriend, significant other, Lance Twiggs, has gone missing 6 weeks after the political assassination. What? Coincidence? I don't believe in coincidences. Let's see what they have to say. It said, I shouldn't be reading the comments. Y'all said, is Lance a furry? Oh my God. Listen, do your own research. I won't get involved in that. Charlie Kirk suspected, I'm not going to say it that way. The roommate of the suspected shooter of Charlie Kirk, Lance Twigg, goes missing 6 weeks after a political assassination. What do they say here? And again, this has recently been posted. So Lance Twigg has seemingly vanished from his hometown 6 weeks after the political assassination that shook the country. Lance Twiggs, 22, has been on the down low since his boyfriend, Tyler Robinson, allegedly shot Turning Point USA co-founder dead and then sent Twiggs a string of text messages confessing to the slaying, according to the feds, allegedly. Twiggs has steered clear of his $1,800 per month love nest. The New York Post is wild, man. On the outskirts of the isolated desert oasis of St. George. They be wilding out here, man. Authorities previously said that he is cooperating with authorities, but Twiggs has refused to speak with media while Robinson awaits trial in Salt Lake City jail cell. Robinson made a brief court appearance last Monday when he mounted the legal argument that fellow accused politician or political assassin Luigi Mangione used in his case, basically wanting to limit the scope of what's seen in this case, and also that Tyler Robinson wasn't going to be seen handcuffed, going back and forth, and he was going to be able to wear regular clothes, which the judge allowed. The Utah native asked that he be allowed to wear civilian clothes in future appearances, arguing that a jail jumpsuit could prejudice the jury pool against him. He's screwed either way if this goes to court. He also asked to appear in court without shackles. The judge granted him the first request, but denied the second in a partial win for Robinson. Mangione made a similar argument in his case, though it does not appear that the judge was agreeable, and he was subsequently seen in his federal lockup fatigues. Robinson is set to appear again on January 16th, and his arraignment has been set for January 30th. Robinson and Twiggs, whom authorities are referring to with masculine pronouns, I can't do it. I'm gonna make it through the segment, moved in together sometime after the latter devout Mormon parents booted him from his home in 2018. They may have since reconciled. Twiggs' Venmo account shows several payments from his parents over the past 2 years with descriptions including prescriptions and gas money. So it sounds like they were helping him transition, I guess. The last payment from his dad occurred just a few months before Charlie Kirk was shot. It is unclear whether Twiggs is living with his parents or is even still in St. George for 4 hours from the Utah Valley University where Charlie Kirk was killed. Twiggs' car, an Infiniti FX35, is now parked in his parents' driveway. It's also alleged that there was stuff going on at Lance Twiggs' parents' house before Charlie Kirk was shot. This is alleged. Yeah, we'll keep it moving with that one. Jesse Riley, who lives just a few homes down from Twiggs and Robinson's apartment, said he couldn't recall seeing any activity from the property since Robinson, also 22, turned himself over to the cops. It's definitely a shock at what happened here. It's a quiet neighborhood. You know your neighborhood, you know your neighbor on your left, you know your neighbor on your right, but people are pretty isolated, Riley told the Post last month. Twiggs had a fraught relationship with his strict Mormon parents, but the reasons why are disputed. A family member told Fox News Twiggs wasn't being respectful and was problematic, used drugs, and was addicted to online gaming. But others close to Twiggs tell a different story. Members of the Nielsen family, who gave Twiggs a place to crash after he got kicked out, described the then teen as a good kid who studied hard and cared about his friends. I loved Lance. His parents kicked him out of his house and he lived with us. His parents never sat right with my family. And that was from Braylon Nielsen, 19, whose brothers were close with Twiggs and members of the group chat with him, as well as Tyler Robinson. He had straight A's. He was very hardworking, not a big partier. He took care of people. Twiggs' former teachers seem to agree. Everything I've heard about him, he was a great kid. He was nice. He worked hard, said Brian Kaufman, superintendent of Twiggs High School, told the Post. He don't know. Brian doesn't know. I heard all good things. The parents seem to have reconciled with their prodigal son, at least somewhat. Investigators say Twiggs received a string of text messages from Tyler Robinson describing the shooting, hiding the gun, and his struggle to escape. You are all I have to worry about, love, Tyler Robinson wrote to Twiggs before surrendering to law enforcement. Robinson was charged on September 17th with aggravated murder, among other crimes, as we know, in the slaying of conservative campus activist and devout Christian Charlie Kirk at a Utah Valley University on September 10th. Court documents show him confessing to his lover in text messages sent during a 33-hour manhunt, which Twiggs later shared to law enforcement. And we know what happened there. Twiggs has not been charged with a crime, and authorities say he's cooperating with police in the investigation. One relative of Twiggs claimed in a Fox News interview, "I think Tyler got a whole lot worse in a year. He and Robinson have been dating. They are big gamers, and obviously they have that group that influences them as well as others." Robinson also expressed to his lover a grudge about the father's support of President Trump. "Since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA," Robinson wrote in those messages. And again, the authenticity of those messages has been disputed because, let's be real, they just sound a little bit weird and honestly scripted. So there's a lot going on there. Also, Amy posted this over on X. Make sure, again, y'all go support Amy on X. You can find her at IAMYLEIGH over on X, at IAmyLee on X. She posted this video from Candace Owens talking about some of the things we've been talking about on the channel and some of the things Candace mentioned in her live streams about Donald Trump, President Donald Trump's connection to the Charlie Kirk assassination. Check this out.
And I just really needed to just take a breather and really process everything that happened with Charlie and what it kind of means in terms of where we are. And I think it is a circumstance where we just know. We just know that he was truly betrayed in one of the most egregious ways that I think I've ever seen. It has made me lose faith in politics. It has made me fully lose faith in Trump. And my heart aches for the fact that he gave so much of his life to Trump and to politics. And they just were like, nope, that is it. It serves us or it doesn't serve us and we want to move on. And so here's a holiday. Bro, if they try to give me a holiday, what is with them giving people a holiday after they kill them? Why is that a thing? You know what I mean? Like, oh, Martin Luther King, what about this holiday? What about this boulevard? Anyways, let me knock off. Like, they're going to give Charlie Kirk a boulevard. They already did. They did in Israel. They gave him freaking boulevard. It's like, as soon as they give you a boulevard and a holiday, they definitely killed you.
Dang.
Okay, there's no question. They killed you. There's no way. That's like their signature thing. It's like, that's what they do. It's the Fed signature. It's how they sign off after they murder you. They're like holiday and a boulevard. And it's never on the nice side of town either. Like Charlie Kirk Boulevard is not going to be a nice side of town. Anyways, I will be back on the 27th, you guys. Thank you guys for all the support throughout these couple of weeks, these last really kind of 6 weeks since Charlie died. And we will see you guys then.
And again, Candace called a lot of the stuff that was going on. People were calling her crazy. We were waiting for the receipts, and she came through and brought the receipts on this because there's so much information out there now, thanks to Candace Owens, about who was talking to Charlie Kirk before all of this happened. What happened? She pointed out what we just covered about Lance Twiggs. A lot of questions that need to be answered, and we're not going to keep silent until we find out what's going on. The last thing I want to show you guys is an interesting video that's been circulating about an interview that took place after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Now, take this for what you will. Maybe it means something, maybe it means nothing. But this is a person who was close to Charlie Kirk when he was assassinated, and they had this to say. But before I get into this, I'll read this post. They say, watch this before it's deleted. She will never be allowed to say this again. This aired right after Charlie Kirk's assassination. A young woman describing what she saw with her own eyes. Now, after Judge Tony Gaff and Governor Spencer Cox appointee issued a massive gag order this weekend, that was a couple weekends ago, she legally banned others from speaking about it again. 3,000 witnesses, law enforcement, and attorneys are all silenced, facing contempt of court and jail time if they talk, which is true. This could be the last firsthand account of the public ever sees. Why silence every witness if there's nothing to hide? Let's see what she had to say.
Basically, I heard a loud bang, which I figured a shot would be a little bit louder, but I just saw it hit him in the chest, and then all of a sudden just tons of blood gushing right out where his heart is, and then he like fell over and slumped down, and everybody got down and was screaming, and then we all ran.
Can you describe just Did he appear to be moving afterward or what?
Not at all. I personally believe he was dead on impact.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and she seems really upset. A lot of people were giving her slack for her reaction. A lot could be taken from this. And again, we're not going to go into this conspiracy theories about what could have happened to Charlie Kirk and how he died. But this is important because her recounting how everything went down, being close to this situation, it's not going to be heard for a long time, maybe not even until this goes to trial, if it goes to trial, because of the gag order that was put in place by the judge. I want to know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. Candace calling it again. Lance Twiggs seemingly disappeared. Why would that be? And has there been no communication between Lance Twiggs and Tyler Robinson? I would personally find that strange. And if that's the case, y'all tell me why. Let me know what you think. Shout out to the gang in here. We still got 16,000 of y'all in the building. Yeah, that's right. I'm speaking it into existence. Shout out to Amy showing so much love. Thank you, Amy. My guy Dennis Byron's in here too. Hey, if y'all haven't checked out what Dennis Byron is doing, this guy, it does not miss a beat. He is always doing an excellent job investigating so many of the cases that we covered here. Y'all have even seen me react to a lot of his videos and the content he posts over on X. So make sure, if you haven't yet, go follow and subscribe my guy Dennis Byron over there. Show him some love, doing some amazing investigative reporting. Great work, man. Good to see you in here, Dennis. Thank you for stopping by as well. All right, we're going to get into our next topic. This is going to be a fun one. And I honestly cannot believe this happened. If you guys have not heard what Alicia Andrews is up to, what her and her legal team have been up to, this is absolutely hilarious. So let me make sure I put Alicia up there after she took that L for the way she acted in the courtroom and her participation in Julio Fulio's trial. So we should be good. This is going to be a crazy one. So we've been talking about Alicia Andrews. Y'all know we covered the entire trial here. After she was found guilty of manslaughter, which some people are saying a win. I'm not going to go into that. If you think Alicia got a win in this court proceeding, please click off of this video and don't watch this, because I don't know how you could come to that conclusion. Either way, we got to look at what happened recently, because shortly after Alicia Andrews was found guilty of manslaughter, her defense team filed this motion. And what's the motion for? The motion is to disqualify the judge in this case. And shout out to Cat Not Williams for posting this. You can follow her on X. You can follow her on YouTube. What does she say? Cat Not Williams says YouTube chats were included as Exhibit A in Alicia Andrews' motion to disqualify Judge Michelle Cisco. This is the most petty motion I've ever seen in covering legal cases. We got the full motion here. We're going to get into what they said, and it gets absolutely wild. Y'all aren't going to believe this. We have the state of Florida versus Alicia Andrews. And what happened? We have a verified motion to disqualify the presiding judge. No big deal. It happens all the time. They think the judge didn't do what they were supposed to do. Why not? Why not defend yourself? Well, it's not that simple. The defendant, by and through undersigned counsel pursuant to FLA statute, whatever, not going to get into it, hereby files this motion to disqualify the presiding judge, and in support thereof states the following. The defendant, Alicia Andrews, respectfully moves to disqualify the Honorable Michelle Cisco from presiding over this matter on grounds that her conduct and statements have created a well-founded fear that Miss Andrews cannot receive a fair and impartial trial. It's a little too late for that. Miss Andrews stands accused of first-degree murder and conspiracy in connection with the alleged ambush killing of Jacksonville rapper Julio Fulio, aka Charles Jones. Throughout the proceedings, Judge Cisco has exhibited overt hostility towards the defense, repeatedly interrupting counsel, refusing sidebars, and visibly prompting the prosecution during the witness examinations. Guys, stop the cap. No. We've seen it happen. Y'all remember Judge Glanville? Shout out to Judge Glanville right here in Fulton County. Y'all remember Judge Beverly Cannoni? Shout out to Judge Cannoni. We've seen judges, biased judges. This was not one of them. Were there some times where the judge maybe had a little bit more heat for the defense? Yes, most likely. It's because they were trash. Let's be real. They were not good. They were not good at all. They did not do a good job defending this. There were a couple instances where they were maybe shining some, but they did this to themselves. So to blame it on the judge is absolutely hilarious, but it gets worse. Check this out. Moreover, her public assurances to the jury that it would receive the case for deliberation by a specific date demonstrate predetermined timetable inconsistent with judicial neutrality. These actions viewed cumulatively give rise to an objectively reasonable fear that Judge Cisco had abandoned her role as an impartial arbiter, requiring disqualification under Florida Rule General Practice and Judicial Administration. Not going to happen. Statement of facts. Conduct and onset of trial. From voir dire, Judge Cisco has demonstrated bias against the defense when she, through denying defense cause challenges based on reasonable doubt that certain potential jurors could be fair and impartial, impaneled an almost all-white jury. Though Judge Cisco was aware that prosecutors in this case intended to introduce drill rap music and drill rap lyrics to the jury, Judge Cisco further demonstrated bias by denying defense counsel cause challenges based on potential jurors' expressed inability to understand rap music and rap lyrics. What? Come on, guys. During opening statements, Judge Cisco permitted the prosecution to raise prejudicial and irrelevant collateral matters with the jury and permitted the prosecution to show the jury images of several unrelated guns over the defense counsel's numerous objections based on the relevance. After over an hour of opening statements from the prosecution, the defense raised objections to the prosecution's opening statement based on relevance, argument, and cumulative nature of the prosecution's opening. At sidebar, defense counsel argued the cumulative nature of the prosecution's statements to Judge Cisco and reminded Judge Cisco that she instructed counsel that each had 1 hour to present opening statements. Judge Cisco quipped that she did not give that instruction, to which defense counsel responded that Judge Cisco not only give that instruction, but laughed at the defense counsel, which is supported by video evidence. Oh, cue the law and crime. Cue the law and crime footage. Shout out to Law and Crime. When defense counsel in an earlier hearing inquired whether there was a time limit for opening statements, Judge Cisco overruled the defense's counsel's objection and permitted the prosecution to continue for nearly an hour or half an hour more. Petty. I want to know what the attorneys think about this. I think objections should not be allowed during opening statements. It just ruins the experience for me as a juror. I hate it. I think it's petty. The judge already tells the jury, hey, opening statements, they aren't evidence. Closing arguments are not evidence. So whatever they say up here, they're just giving you an overview of what they think happened. And then we're going to go to trial and the regular proceedings and prove it. Why are we objecting during opening statements? It's the most annoying thing I've ever seen. Anyway, this ultimately became the precursor for what would become a trial defending Mrs. Andrews' character based on her connection and proximity to individuals not even charged in the murder of Charles Jones. What? Okay. Conduct during examination of witness. Also to point out, the judge gave it to one of the defense attorneys for having an attitude and making faces during court. I wanted to find that clip, but I'm going to leave it for y'all to go look at. The judge was not happy with some of the conduct that the defense was participating in. Let's just say that. It wasn't a good experience. During Detective Neener's redirect examination, after the detective testified that he had not reviewed certain iCloud messages, the state questioned him further on the very topic. When the defense counsel sought to object and requested a sidebar, Judge Cisco refused both the objection and the sidebar request in front of the jury and further denied an opportunity for recross on the issue, effectively eliminating the defense's opportunity to preserve the legal issue. During the same witness's testimony, Justice Sisko, in front of the jury, suggested that the state should have an objection to the defense introducing evidence during their case in chief. Listen, this is just them saying, we don't like the judge wouldn't let us do what we want. I'm not going to read all of this because we got to get to the YouTube comments. Yes, in their exhibits for this motion, they are going to talk about YouTube comments. But let's see first what they say about improper courtroom demeanor and unequal treatment. Judge Sisko has also made dismissive and prejudicial remarks in the presence of witnesses and the jury. At one point, she falsely accused defense counsel of making allegations of improper witness behavior in front of a hostile witness, undermining counsel's credibility. Excuse me. Her body language and tone during defense objections have reflected irritation, impatience, and at times anger, while her treatment of the prosecution has remained differential and uncritical. I disagree. On October 28th, during cross-examination of the state's witness, Miss Amara Drew, the prosecution made several baseless objections to relevant questions about the safety mechanism on a rifle. The court sustained all objections without requiring legal grounds and became visibly frustrated when defense counsel sought to articulate a basis for relevance. Despite repeated requests for a sidebar to avoid further discussion before the jury, the court refused twice with evident disdain. During the exchange, the state repeatedly raised its voice and spoke over defense counsel in an aggravated and unprofessional tone, yet the court took no corrective action. I don't see any case law cited here. Predetermination and promises to the jury. What else do they have? Additional incidents demonstrating bias. Later that same day, after Mrs. White raised concerns about the state's repeated hostile tone towards the defense, the court entirely disregarded her complaint and moved on without addressing the issue. When she attempted to set the matter on the record, Judge Sisko scoffed and remarked, "This entire trial is on the record," in a dismissive and a sarcastic tone. During the rulings concerning the admissibility of an interrogation video, Judge Sisko initially indicated she was inclined to rule in favor of the defense, but allowed the state to extended time to find supporting case law. Guys, conduct on October 30th, 2025. October 30th, 2025, the court's focus on expediting the trial at the expense of the defense became more apparent at approximately 11:30 a.m. during Mr. McLamont's, what a name, cross-examination of Detective Ramos. Judge Sisko repeatedly interrupted him and ordered that the video evidence be fast-forwarded to accelerate the proceedings. I agree. I did not like that. But there was also an instance with that interrogation video where the judge said, just let it play. Because what I remember, we watched the court proceedings here. The prosecution tried to skip ahead to where the interrogation started. And the judge said, no, go back. Just let it play. Don't change anything. Leave it the way it is. So I'm not sure what they're referring to here. Later that same day, when the defense attempted to introduce evidence via a flash drive, a method previously used without issue, the court interrupted Mr. McLamont and suggested in front of the jury that the procedure was improper. When he explained that the same method had been accepted earlier in trial, Judge Sisko implied to the state again in the jury's presence that the defense conduct was questionable or irregular, and then ruled that it was admitted under review until the court could assure there was no additional items on the drive the jury couldn't see. This is standard procedure. Public reaction to Judge Sisko's behavior. Guys, this is where it gets crazy. And I have never seen this before in any motion that we've looked at on this channel. The trial has been live streamed on YouTube, and numerous members of the public who observed Judge Sisko's conduct expressed serious concern about her impartiality and demeanor. Yes, we talking about YouTube comments. The reactions captured contemporaneously in the live YouTube chat demonstrate a clear and consistent perception that Judge Sisko exhibited bias against the defense and hostility towards the defense counsel. We're talking about YouTube comments. YouTube comments? The public commentary provides independent real-time corroboration of the defense's position that Judge Sisko's behavior created an objective appearance of partiality in violation of the standards of judicial neutrality and decorum. Hey, y'all better be careful commenting in these YouTube live chats because you might get subpoenaed one day. You might be brought in court and say, hey, when you said the judge's sunglasses or the judge's glasses were crooked, did that play into how you feel about the judge and being biased? Like, this is crazy. We're talking about YouTube comments. And guys, they look at this. They even mention the users. This is embarrassing. Representative comments from the public on YouTube. Theme, direct accusations of bias. User, Esquire 0618 says, this judge is a mess and literally cannot hide her bias. This judge is biased AF. This judge hates the defense, says the Tall Glass and Azure 186. Unequal treatment and unfairness from the YouTube comments. She's allowing the prosecution to do and say whatever they want, says Lisa Yee 7986. The judge's mind been made up. Defense should ask for a different judge, Camp 8TV says. This is not a fair trial, says Love T. This judge is rude. The judge is rude. The judge is nasty towards the defense. The judge doesn't like the defense. She's laughing. This is not a fair trial. They need to file a motion against this judge. Also, they're taking their legal advice from YouTube comments. Yo, this is embarrassing. Oh, this is so embarrassing. But some of y'all agree. This is crazy. The breadth and consistency of these independent comments by viewers with no direct stake in the outcome underscore a public perception that Judge Sisko's conduct demonstrated partiality. See Exhibit A, public's reaction to Judge Sisko's behavior. Such perception, even if unintentional, erodes public confidence in the integrity and impartiality of judiciary, warranting recusal and renewed consideration of the proceedings to ensure fundamental fairness. Excuse me. And then they go on to say, excuse me, guys, I'm sorry. It's crazy, though, that they're trying to say the chat said, Judge. This is insane. Then they go on to give the legal standard of why this should happen. And their argument is left here and summed up here. Appearance of hostility and unequal treatment toward the defense. Judge Sisko's repeated displays of visible irritation, sarcasm, and dismissive behavior towards the defense counsels while simultaneously accommodating the prosecution constitute an appearance of bias that is any reasonable observer would perceive as prejudicial. Specifically, the records reflect that Judge Sisko refused defense's objections and sidebar requests in the presence of the jury, shook her head toward the state during the defense questioning, appearing to prompt objection, directed the defense counsel to wrap up cross-examinations, a restriction never imposed on the prosecution, and responded sarcastically to defense concerns, stating this entire trial is on record in open court. Okay. Unnecessarily providing assistance to the prosecution and impeding a full and thorough examination by the defense, claiming that the defense counsel has misrepresented certain facts, law, or simply acting unprofessional, is what they said. And then they're still complaining. They're still whining. And in conclusion, they say the record demonstrates that Judge Sisko's conduct, demeanor, and public statements have created a well-founded fear that the defense cannot receive a fair and impartial trial. Her actions during witness examinations, statements to the jury, and equal enforcement of the courtroom procedure reflect an appearance of hostility and predetermination inconsistent with the constitutional right to a neutral arbiter. For these reasons, disqualifications is not only appropriate, but necessary to preserve the integrity of these proceedings and public confidence in administration of justice. Shout out to Law and Crime making it. And y'all want to see some more of these comments? This is crazy. This judge is biased. This is not a fair trial. Laughing LMAO. This judge is a mess and literally cannot hide her bias. The judge is laughing. This is not a fair trial. The judge can get away with this. The judge is making crap up. The judge is awful. The judge ain't worth the dollar. The judge is nasty towards the defense. The judge is rude. They need to file a motion against the judge. And y'all don't think this judge is biased. Judge doesn't like the defense. Judge don't like the defense attorneys. The judge is terrible. They're going to ask for an appeal because of the judge. Judge mind been made up. Defense should ask for a different judge. She does seem kind of biased. Judge hates the defense. They should ask for the judge to be removed. She's allowing the prosecution to do and say whatever they want. Yeah, you can tell the judge don't like the defense. This judge is so biased. See, the judges are always in bed with the state and DA because they all share bonds and warrants money. The lawyers private hired, but that's what the judge always does on the state side. The judge is not fair, definitely biased. She has verbally undressed the defense more than once. Her tone and attitude are disgusting. She's treating them the same way the one defense attorney was trying to say the prosecutors were treating them. And then they say, what on this one? The judge had her mind made up, and it goes on and on. Guys, look at all I'm scrolling through. Look at all these. Yo, this is crazy. I cannot believe they were on Law and Crime. I need to go through here and see if they had our channel up, but I don't think anybody said on this channel that the judge was biased. If anything, we were saying Alicia was cooked more than anything. They probably don't want to show those. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. Crying for nothing. This is insane, man. Insane. Shout out to the gang in here. I mean, they had 30-something pages of YouTube comment screenshots. This is wild. What are y'all saying in here, man? We gotta get out of here. This is the most petty thing I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like this. The black and white scanned emojis are oh, Amy says, Amy says, Alicia Andrews didn't just dig herself a hole. She built a whole cul-de-sac down there. She thought she was beating the case and ended up giving a TED talk on self-incrimination. I lied to the police, so. Hey, Glanville got recused because of the necessity of preserving the public's confidence in the judicial system. Public opinion does help in proving that up. Yeah, except he had a meeting he shouldn't have and did a lot of things he shouldn't have done. So I don't know. When the prosecutor showed the text messages, Alicia's face said, "Who wrote that?" "Ma'am, you did on your phone with emojis." YouTube is the public though. Yeah, I mean, that's true, but the public is usually biased. Sorry, bro, but from what I saw, the judge definitely was biased. Well, I can guarantee you that this motion it's gonna get this. Oh, that's fine if y'all think the judge was biased in this one. I've seen some biased judges. This was not a biased judge, in my opinion. But yeah, we're all entitled to our opinion. All right, I'm gonna let y'all get up out of here. Thank you to all 12,000 of you that liked the video. We're going to be back tomorrow with another episode. It's gonna be denied. Make sure y'all stay tuned. If you haven't yet, like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time we go live or drop a new video. I appreciate everyone that's done that. Looking forward to seeing some of y'all tonight on Song of the Night Live. And make sure you tune in tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, you know what to do. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gon' pace. This motion feels like a preemptive strategy for sentencing, in my opinion.